Hello. How are you?
Hello, Claire. Good, good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Very good.
Excellent,
I have
excellent.
I cannot believe we've not done this word actually. It's made me smile. So the word today is control.
Mm, control.
I'm laughing
Yeah.
already.
Well, it's really kind of a facade, isn't it? Whoever created that word?
You say it's kind of a sod.
A facade.
For some reason, it's a kind of a sod of this
Oh,
as
well,
well.
that too, maybe.
Facade. It's just a facade, yes. I'm a sod.
It can be, yeah. If you really
Oh.
get hooked on it, it could certainly feel like a regular
Mm.
facade. Yeah. Well, it's really a, an imagination that that things can be certain. And yeah. So control, here's my experience of control. The things that I want to control, those are the things I have pain and angst and discomfort and frustration around. It's wanting to have things a certain way. Those outside things, to have those things line up in a certain way to keep me safe and to keep me feeling okay and to, have life be easier for me. And of course, in this three principles understanding, it's like that is not an outside thing. That anything outside of me is not going to give me those feelings of safety and peace and wellness and that things are right. Wanting to control something, it usually involves not accepting what is. Just being really living in resistance rather than living in flow. And in flow, I mean that, living a life guided by that inside wisdom, that inner wisdom that guides us all, that we were born with. And it'll be with us to the end. It's always there, guiding us in some way. So this idea, oh my goodness, I can plan things. I mean, planning there's things that it's kind of necessary in this human plane. It's necessary to plan them. We plan to meet here at this same hour each week and record, and that's really helpful planning. But when we are, really hooking into a plan that we make, and some of us, I don't plan near as much as I used to. I have so many lists. I still have lots of lists. I have tons of little sticky notes everywhere. They're usually just reminders, but also plans. I'm going away tomorrow for a bit, so I've been like making a list of the plans, something I want to prepare, road food and, things to do. And it's like I'm kind of loose, and I've kind of learned that I tend to put more things on the list than any normal human would ever have time to do. So I know that some things are not going to be done. And I kind of go by, it's just like, well, let's see how it goes. Let's just see what feels right. And it's like, well, this is the most important. I'll make sure that's done. And then all the other stuff, it's just like, oh, It was just more nice to have. That would have been good. But yeah, control can really bite you in the butt if you think that you have it. The only control I might say that you have is the opportunity moment to moment to catch what the heck is going on, what your mind, because it can seem like our mind has hijacked us, but it hasn't. We just got into a little train of thought that was taking us in a place where we felt like we could control it all. And really, the more that we can let go and just recognize what is, and it's like, okay, this is what is, and what do I know to do about it in this moment? And not try and figure it out, but it's more like, not what do I, this mind, know, but, what? Allow the space for wisdom to come through and show us, because it does. It does so much of the day, right? All of us live guided by wisdom times in our life every day, but it goes so smoothly, it goes unrecognized. The stuff that we really recognize is the stuff that's not working out. And we kind of miss all those other, parts that we weren't trying to control. We were just going with the flow. And it just felt so much easier. Anyway, yeah, that's sort of to start. Do share your insights on control.
Yeah. I mean, you are in a meeting with a recovering control freak here, so just to clarify. I was thinking it should be a group I should start called Control Freaks Anonymous. We'll all sit in a circle and say, "Hello, my name's Clare and I'm a control freak." It's still such a big part of my life. And like you said, I catch it more often. I see it. I have that in the moment. That's where you're going with that, Claire. Maybe put that down. I can get off the train of thought, maybe less stations on the journey. I might get to station number 2 or 3 rather than going to the end of the line and falling off a cliff into a great big abyss, which was what I would have done in the past. But there are still some things that I get extremely stirred up about. We've spoken about these not a thing, a person. There's a person in mine and my fiance's life who has recently kicked off again. And the what's ironic about it is that there's and this is where I think we can see this in not just in control, but in many other aspects of our life, that there is control being directed at us, that the other person wants to control elements of what happens in our home, elements of our relationship, elements of things that are nothing to do with her. And then I want to control her and get her to shut up. so that there's, and that's back to that question we've spoken about before. That's what's my equivalent, or where am I like this? In seeing that, probably, and when we feel like we're being controlled, there will be an element of that coming from. That's got to be coming from us, where if we're seeing people directing control at us, then that's because we've got it going on in our own world. And that's been, and I've been doing too much of the thoughts about that control at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm tired today because I've had a couple of nights, not just me, Bruce as well, and because it's reached a peak where it's never gone before. So it's been ridiculous. So yeah, it's but like you said, it's because the message comes in, because it's always underpinned by some kind of rude message. The critical, controlling message comes in, and I feel just so annoyed. And I want that annoyed feeling to go away. And so then my mind wants to fix her, get her to rude word alert, F off, basically, so that I don't have to put up with any more of these ridiculous messages. Now, what's interesting about that for me is that this kind of kicked off on Sunday or Monday, and as I've calmed down, it's felt like there's been a need for an expression of a boundary that's just a fact about how Bruce and I conduct our relationship and how that's got nothing to do with her. And as I've before, when I'm first stirred up, I just want to send something vomiticious, like she sent to us, vomiticious back at her. And that's definitely coming from a place of control. But I think it's all about the feeling. As I settle, as I calm down, this morning I meditated and I was very calm. And as I came out of my meditation, a very clear message expressing some boundaries about what we will no longer be responding to. So telling her that she can send these messages and we will delete them without reading them. And we're not reading them anymore. And some things about the other person involved, the little person involved, and all. And that just came but that was really calm. It didn't feel like it was coming from that same place. It probably was still a little bit, but it was a lot calmer and a lot more settled. And I think that's the thing, is to see that we don't have to control the thing, that the feeling will pass anyway. You know, it's taken too long. And I've not been in it all the time, but I've been in and out of it over the last few days. And especially in the middle of the night when there's nothing else to do or think about, my mind's gone straight to, right, what do I need to say to her? And what do we need to say to him? And how do we need to resolve it? But as I've settled and seeing that the feeling passed without anything changing. Because usually when we're controlling, we're like, this has to change, then I can feel okay. And that's why we want to control the outside world. I did that in my career for years, next step of ladder, next step of ladder, next step of ladder. Oh crap, I still don't feel amazing. I'm still not feeling the way I want to feel about myself in particular. And so I think it's cool to even, we feel that sense of wanting to control something. Maybe, we ended the last episode, talked in the last episode about a little experiment. Maybe that experiment is to wait and see how your feeling passes without you actually needing to do anything. That you'll settle down on your own. And the situation of the annoying boss or the annoying ex-partner or the world out there, which seems to be going to wreck and ruin, or whatever it is, can be exactly the same. Exactly, not change at all, not change one iota, but that you will settle down anyway. And then the inclination to control it falls away because, I can self-right. I don't need that out there to change for me to be okay. I can settle down. And that's really cool to see. And like I always say, we say in the 3 principles, there's no tools, no techniques, and and all that. But I do think that slowing the chuff down and pausing and taking a breath and feeling your feet on the floor and giving yourself a minute, and maybe even when you understand that you're stirred up, maybe it makes sense to go for a walk. I've done a lot of walking in the last couple of days just because it's felt good and I've listened to a little bit of nice material that I've been listening to Dominic Scafidi on lots of podcasts, just nice settling, and that's what's made sense. But in the meantime, my system has just been settling down, and when it's popped up, it's stayed there less time. It's gone, the situation's popped in again and it's settled down. It's popped in, it's settled down. It's not been front and center of my mind, and that's it's the seeing that the emotional state and the thoughts just are always moving through, and actually we can't control them. Can't really control our feeling state, really. That it is just I've had times when I've got super racked up about something and then literally watched it energetically move through my body and go as I've just watched it do all this crazy dance in my body. off it goes. And well, where did it go? Well, it's just energy in motion, isn't it? It's not, it doesn't do anything. It just what it was doing anyway. Like, today we have had rain in London. How exciting is that? Not enough to compensate for the lack of rain since March, but anyway. And the clouds are, you can see them, they're moving across the sky, and that's the same. So our experience is going to change anyway. So maybe we don't really need to do anything about it, really. We don't have to control it. We can't.
No. Yeah.
Really. But we can watch it. We can watch it go by.
Yeah. The word, we actually talked about this word a few weeks ago about intent, or we can be intentional. Like, yeah, I would like to catch that more, and it'll happen. But yes, just the nature of the mind of us, the interaction that happens there. Yes, we're going to regularly get caught up in that and feel like we need to control something. It's going to happen. So I hear these words a lot. So I'm going to say, don't beat yourself up about it. That it's going to happen. And we can put the intent within. It's like, yeah, I want to try and catch that more. I want to notice. I want to. And what does that mean? Like for me, that means, it's just like, so slow the truck down, like you said, because the mind settles, and it's almost like taking a half step back from the outside circumstance that's going on, that it seems that we need to do something about. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. But trying to figure it out and do something with it from our thinky mind is not helpful, especially when it's reactive, when it's in a reactive triggered state, which if you haven't seen that podcast, that was a couple weeks ago too. So, yeah. Yeah. Isn't it wonderful to know? What a relief, isn't it? To know that we don't have to struggle to have control, to gain control, to overpower something outside of us.
I'll let you know when I know that. Like, that's all we want you to hear. I've lost my mind over this over the last couple of days. Not permanently, but intermittently. I have, Bruce and I drove to London. It's 200 miles from home. I'd say at least half the journey we were talking about this situation. And but then, then at one point we were, shall we just put a bit of, like, we're doing Living Miraculously in September, so shall we just put a bit of the pre-work shall we just listen to Dominic chatting about some nice things for a little while, because we knew we had to get off. We had to do something to get off the topic, because if that wasn't playing, we would have just kept going back to it and starting again. Yeah, but what about the time when she did? What about the so that I think that self-compassion piece is so important. If you're noticing that you do have a tendency towards trying to control things, well, that's because that's where you are right now, and that's what makes sense, and that we are not superhuman individuals 5 years in this conversation still flipping get caught up in shenanigans about things, and that's just human. And I think, and I speak to people so often, in fact, I replied to a classroom question in one of my courses the other day, and this lady said, I teach yoga, I should be able to do this. And I just thought, and I replied a little voice note. I just said, the one word I would love you to put down in what you've written is the word should. Who says? I said, I've been studying this for 5 years and I don't get it all the time. Don't be hard on yourself. Really don't be hard on yourself, because that doesn't help at all. That's like us trying to control ourselves, which is another layer of this that is not necessary. When we see it, we see it, and we can be a bit more intentional, like you said. But and I think the other thing that comes to mind is you just become a little less tolerant of feeling crap. with the understanding that that's coming from what train of
Yeah.
thought you're on. And
Yeah.
just, I've become less tolerant of feeling crappy in my body, and kind of, so I'm more like, oh, I don't want to get on that crazy train of thought. I want to get off at a sooner station than previously, because I don't want to feel horrible anymore. Become less and less tolerant of that. It wastes so much time. I've noticed my energy's just been so, my ability to focus on my business, my ability to get things done has just been, because I've been so caught up in this nonsense. So don't be hard on yourself, but maybe become a bit less tolerant of feeling awful.
Yeah. Right. Good one, Claire.
Thank you. I can't believe we hadn't done that
Thank
work.
you. Yeah.
Such a big part of my life for a long time. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank
We'll
you
see you
too.
next week.
Yes.
Take care.
Ciao
Bye.
for now.